So I've promised that I would do a re-review of my first ever review on this channel anytime soon. And now it's finally time to revisit the very first game from the Evolution Studios WRC series. At first, here are some background information before we start. In 1999, Evolution Studios were developing a PC game called Evo Rally. During this time, Sony approached Evolution Studios and bought the team along with their project Evo Rally. Under Sony, their task was to create a game based on the World Rally Championship. There were some preview pictures with the 2000 season data, but ultimately the game was set with the 2001 season roster. Ultimately, the game was released on the 30th of November 2001 in Europe, published by Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, on 14th of March in 2002 in Japan, published by Spike, and on the 21st of March in 2002 in North America, published by BAM Entertainment. Oddly, it was the only WRC game from the Sony era to be released in North America. Back in my old review, I gave the game a 5 out of 10, criticizing the game for being way too easy in terms of driving physics and AI, plus having some poor graphics. Now, after going into this game again, has my mindset changed? Let's find out. As you would expect from an officially licensed video game, all 7 teams and all 21 drivers who participated in the 2001 WRC season were included into the game, except for Colin McRae, whose license were taken from Codemasters, who has used his name in another rally game, called Colin McRae Rally. As a workaround, he is simply called Full Driver. Oh well, at least you all know that this is Colin McRae, so let's move on. Also included in this game are all 14 locations of the 2001 WRC season. So you can drive through the icy roads of Monaco, through the twisty roads of Corsica, and through the beautiful Safari. Now, the only criticism I have is that this game lacks some sort of variety in terms of the cars. They could have easily included S1600 cars as well, so we could recreate this dominance of Sebastian Loeb. In terms of the game modes, there is the standard championship mode, where you complete the full WRC season with the driver you picked. So you can give Skoda some success with the bulky Octavia, or you can pick Marcus Gronholm to defend his crown. You have 3 difficulty options: novice, normal and professional. The only downside of this is that you have to unlock the professional difficulty by playing a whole championship at normal difficulty. But hey, at least they had the goal at least. Speaking of unlocking things, by playing through a whole championship mode, you can unlock all the stages from the game modes, single rally and time trial. Of course there's a 2-player mode, but because I had no one to test it, I just assume it's like every other game. Driving through a stage together. The most interesting game mode is the WRC Challenge. Basically an early form of esports, where you have to complete 4 stages to get a code for the WRC Challenge, but as you can guess, you're not able to do this anymore because this competition is over since nearly 20 years. Only time traveling would help you out with this one. I need to mention the great presentation however. When you start the championship, you get a short video presenting the WRC in all its glory, while showing some spectacular clips from the 2000 and the early 2001 WRC season. Before rally starts, you can watch another short video explaining the difficulties and specialties of that rally. Really cool addition. Furthermore, whilst looking at replays, you can see the official HUD at the cockpit cam. Really cool in my opinion. Now we come to the most important aspect of a racing game. No, it's not graphics yet, but it's the gameplay. And all I can say to this is that it is very easy to get used to and that the cars are very controllable on all surfaces. If I'm honest, I think even though it's easy to get used to, it's a lot of fun driving with those cars through these stages. But there's a minor complaint from my side. The stages are way too wide, so that experienced players won't have a big challenge driving through them. Another issue for pros and experienced players is that the AI is way too easy. Yes, I think the AI is easy to beat. I mean, it is okay for a normal championship, but it's not okay for the professional championship. Even though I'm not that good in the game, at least in my opinion. It's not really helping in terms of long-term motivation for the experienced and or pro players. However, the only rally where the AI is really fast, at least which it burns, is the Rally GP, where I only managed to finish second all the time. So be aware of the sudden pace of the AI here. There's also a damage model, which is in my opinion a bit too soft. I hadn't got that many technical complaints of the car. At least there's a lot of cosmetic damage however. But here's the big problem. There's no real service park, meaning that the AI is controlling which parts should be repaired on my car, and it's mostly everything. You can only change the setup of your car after each stage, which is completely disappointing for a rally game, and even the setup menu is rather basic. Car Maker Rally 2.0 has got a service park where you can repair your car damages and make some setup changes, and even has a detailed setup menu, which shows that it was possible, but they simply went for the casual approach. Disappointed to be honest. Now it's time to look into the thing many people judge games for today, the graphics. And if I'm honest, for a 2001 game this doesn't look too good if I'm honest. Look at Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec from Polyphony Digital, or Formula 1 2001 from Sony Studio Liverpool, and you can clearly see why. The textures simply don't look good, the lighting effects are simply non-existent, and the environments do really suffer from the early PS2 game syndrome. Also, a very obvious complaint is that the cars look incredibly wrong, and look like they came right out of the PS1 version of the game, if there was one. I will show some comparisons between some cars, and you will see why I have so many issues with those car models. I guess that they made them pretty quickly instead of taking the time to do them properly, or they were focusing on other things instead. But at least the cars fit to the poor looking graphics. It is a shame, but not really a deal breaker, because the game actually runs in a stable 50 FPS. Well, I say stable, but there are some notable slowdowns on some stages. For example, this third stage in France. Also present are some game phases from the drivers. However, most of them don't look anywhere near close to their real life counterpart. To be fair, this game was one of the first games that would use faces from real life drivers in their licensed games. Now, I will look into the sound department. Is it as bad as the graphics? I can safely say that it isn't that bad. The co-driver is actually decent. Even though it's weird that they flipped the number system so that 1 is the fastest corner and 6 the tightest. At least Robert Reed appeared in the game to co-pilot Richard Burns in the game. However, the car sounds leave a lot to be desired, but they're not that bad. It might not be that good as in Gran Turismo 3, but it really isn't that bad, and I have to be fair in this one. However, the fan sounds are sometimes very loud and are always the same per country, which really gets annoying, but at least there's some diversity and actually makes the countries unique. The soundtrack in this game is quite okay. You have soundtracks from Garbage, Soulwax or Feeder in the replays. The main menu theme is actually just a short loop getting repeated forever. I personally like it, but I can't understand people who have turned it off because it's so annoying. Really, I do. There you have it. There's my remake of my review from Road Rally Championship. I really have to say that I was quite harsh in this game. I really don't agree with some things I said back then. Now, what's my opinion now? It is a fun game which has started a series of great rally games. And whilst the first game wasn't perfect, especially in terms of AI difficulty and graphics, it is a fun experience nevertheless. I will give this game a slightly better rating this time. I will give it a 6.5 out of 10. It is nowhere near 5 out of 10 as the game originally. If you want a fun and chill WRC experience, then this is the game to go. If you are searching for a challenging WRC game with good graphics, good physics and hard AI, then the next couple of games might be something for you. But now, we have to wait until finally review WRC 2 Extreme. Oh dear, I really don't want to do this, but we'll come to that later.